Good evening and welcome to Neighbourhood Town Council's Arts, Events and Heritage Committee. As you can see on the agenda tonight, we have one main item and a few others. Now we'll start with the election of the chair. Now I'd actually like to continue doing this for another year if nobody minds. So if you'd like to support me, anybody like to second me, come first me? Can I have a vote of hands? Unanimous. And I'd like to ask Sue to be my second again.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
I'll second it. Show of hands.
No, I'm sorry for it.
Done.
That way. Oh, we.
Apologies for absence. I presume Richard was supposed to be here this evening.
He was. I've not received anything that I've noticed in my inbox, Chair. I'm just having a quick look. No, I've not received any apologies from him.
Okie dokie. Now, declarations of interest.
I suppose I'll better say borough, hadn't I? Again.
You like that, don't you?
No, I'm just have to say it so I don't forget.
And congratulations on being elected, by the way.
Thank you. And also Liberty Leisure, I guess, for events as well.
Are you on the board of that? Okay, yeah.
Right, the minutes of the previous meeting. Have you all had a read through them? If not, I'm happy to. If you like, I'd like to take a moment to peruse them and make sure you're all happy with them.
Yeah, I think it will.
Yeah, I'm happy to propose that they are correct.
Do we need to make a note of the fact this is the next meeting is the 12th of March and that one got cancelled, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I'll go to Sabrina on that one.
That's just what we said at the meeting. Obviously, things happened after that. We ended up having to cancel, so it is an accurate record of what we said at the meeting.
If that's the case,
I'll
if everybody's happy.
second your proposal, Teresa.
Have a show of hands if everybody's happy.
Yeah.
I shall sign these off then. Thank you very much, guys. Right, now we're on to the main event. Now for this, I'm going to hand over to Teresa. Teresa, Sustainable Statehood, could you tell us all about it?
I am very sorry because it's going to be me talking for hours again. So if you remember, it feels like it when I get going. So if you remember, way back when, before the lockdown, we wrote a strategy for our climate emergency. There was two parts to the strategy. There was the Town Council reducing their carbon footprint and reaching net zero by 2027. And there was also helping the residents of Stapleford to reduce their carbon emissions. I can't remember what we exactly said, but we said that we'd do a sustainable Stapleford event as part of that to help encourage people to live more sustainably. So of course, obviously, COVID lockdown happened and not a lot of events did happen. But during that time, we then wrote the corporate plan and it came up again about this event, and then we finally got around to scheduling it. I think, was it February that we gave a date? It was the 31st of July. So finally, I've been sort of, and then we were going to hopefully discuss it at last meeting, but then that got cancelled. So I have been sort of contacting people behind the scenes to get this off the ground. So it's basically getting agreement that we're happy for all of these things to happen, and I am going to ask for a little bit of money to pay for some of them, but it's not a lot.
£2.50 to the pack of crisps.
Maybe. So I'll go through who I've been speaking to. So first off, I've got a group called Women in Tandem. And these are a group of ladies who run group cycle events, and it's predominantly aimed at women because it's to build confidence. So obviously the idea is that women such as myself who haven't been on a bike for a very long time can actually go on a group bike ride and have some assistance from two like trained riders. So there's a rider at the front, a rider at the back. They've got all public liability insurance. They're bike mechanics as well. So what they've proposed for us is that they will do, they said that they'll arrive at 10:15, aiming for a 10:30 start. They'll go through some basic guidance on checking your bike, that it's safe to ride and cycling safety on the road. And then the plan is to set off at 10:45 for a 3 to 5 mile loop and have everybody back by 11:15. So it's a short bike ride for beginners, aimed at beginners. So there's that as well. So we were talking about what they will need to bring is a working bike, refreshments, so sort of like a bottle of water, waterproof clothing if it's needed, a helmet, but it isn't a legal requirement, but obviously we can put that that's the kind of thing that we'd like. What they've quoted us as a cost is £60. And that's to cover the time for the ride leaders and route planning, and you know the work that's going to go into it. I have said that if we're not happy to fund that, I don't mind like sponsoring this because I think it's really important. Because obviously this cycling event ties in with sort of the Townsdale bridge, and getting the cycle lanes up. And if people aren't confident using the cycle lanes and stuff, there's no point doing it. So it's to get that confidence.
I think, to be honest, it's something that we really need to back because we are back in the Townsdale.
So this is one of the things that we said we'd do. So preliminarily, what I've suggested and we've discussed is that starting it off in the car park at the Carnegie here because it's a nice enclosed area, and then they can go and have their bike ride and then meet back there. So following on from that, the other event. Oh, go on.
I know you did mention to me that it's not just for women, though.
No, it's not.
Open to everybody.
They normally do it aimed at women, but I have said, can we have men as well, please? And they said yes, obviously, but it's normally aimed at women. But they have said they would accept men, which is good. So back to the bike things again. I've also been speaking to Jill Carter at Pulp Friction, and she has a pedal-powered Smoothie Maker. So the idea is that when people, again, I'm thinking in the car park, and when the group set off, have their bike ride, when they get back, they can have a smoothie afterwards. Go on.
Is it worth getting a price for a gazebo for in case it rains?
I think Jill has got one, should it be required.
Sorry to interrupt, I know in your flow. I'm just wondering, because I know Pulp Friction is quite a crowd drawer. Do you think it's best in the car park here or on the square?
Well, I'll get to the square in a minute because I'm just wondering about logistics of getting the cars on and off.
Okay,
but we can
to and fro.
We can sort of finalise that once we've got the things. But so what Jill has suggested is it's £40 just to cover the costs of the ingredients for the smoothies. So we can have free smoothies for Stapleford if they come on a bike and pedal and make it themselves. But she has said that she's also applying for some grant funding to do community events. And if she gets that, potentially it could be free. So it's either free or 40 quid. But again, I'm happy to...
So worst cases, it's going to be 40 quid.
Yeah. So, following on the bike theme, Councillor John McGrath has actually had a word with the people at Street Machine to see if they would do a Dr. Bike. So we can arrange for people to go down and have their bike, have a little bit of an MOT, push bike, not a like your bike, but a push bike, and I basically have an MOT for that. So I've got to phone them back tomorrow morning, so I've not got details of that, but that's okay. So that's the cycling side of things done. Get on to the square now. I organised this, this is one of the first things I did because I know a chap called Rob Cooling who's very good, and he's part of the Nottingham EV Club, and he's going to bring 2 electric vehicles. One of them's a new Tesla, and we've got the square booked for that. So I think it's been booked, the risk assessments have been submitted, so that's all sorted. And what he's going to do is there's going to be 2 cars, and what he says that they do is they put posters on the windows and people can go and have a look inside, and they've got information on the windows. There'll be him and another chap there to answer questions about electric vehicles. He's also got a mock-up of a charger point it's a dummy charger point, so we can have that in the square, so we don't need electricity. They've got sort of flags and banners and stuff that they can put up, and again I think they've got a marquee should it be terrible weather. But so we've got that in the square, but also the nice thing about having that in the square is there's now 2 EV charging points in the car park, so you can send people up and round to that bit. So there is potential to put something else on the square, but obviously what I've put in the risk assessment is that they're arriving sort of 9:30ish, and we're going to have to sort of marshal them on, and then the car's going to be sort of there. So if we put something else on, it can't be in the way of the cars getting on and off, should they need to go.
I think it's going to be a good idea just to keep it for the cars, for the simple reason we're going to have Bobs coming around the cars as well.
Yeah.
It's going to attract a lot of attention, because electronic cars and EVs now are starting to really attract a lot of people, which is a good thing. And I think that we're going to have to keep it safety first in mind. And of course, none of us know what's going to happen with the COVID regs at that point. So I think, as you rightly said, with Pulp Fiction possibly being here, we've got we've got something here going off as well as the push bikes going from here and then returning to here. What time are they going to be on the square till?
I'll book the square 10 till 2.
So it's from 10 till 2.
Because there is the raised area, isn't there?
Yeah.
Where cars couldn't go on, so there is.
Yeah, I mean, there's this potential, but it's because obviously there's some other bits and bobs, so it might be we want to think about space anyway. But so the other thing that I've talked to Colin, our neighbourhood plan consultant, and we've said about having, because our neighbourhood plan's got a lot of environmental stuff in it, is having the posters produced of the booklet that we had posted around everywhere for people to come and view, and then we can do some feedback on that as well. And when I spoke to Colin about it, he said hopefully we'll have the design codes as well for people to comment on, so that's another opportunity for people to give feedback on the neighbourhood plan. I've spoken to Heather at the Helpful Bureau, and she has agreed to supervise people doing their carbon footprint calculation. Because one of the things that I actually need people to do is to sign up and basically calculate the carbon footprint at the moment, and then maybe do it again in a year's time and see if we've actually reduced, any of the initiatives or anything that's happening has changed to reduce their carbon footprint. So I've contacted Russ Olding at the Haven, because he's got some laptops that we can potentially use. So I think there's going to be 6 laptops. And the same way that Heather was supporting people doing the census survey, we can have that going off in here as well. I've put down a suggestions box so that residents, if they've got any ideas for sustainability, they can come and put their ideas in. I think I mentioned, we talked about it to Sue, about having like a kids' corner. So they can do some arts and crafts activities with bits of household waste and stuff. So, there's that. And we talked about maybe doing a community mural where I could say, what does climate change mean to you? And everybody can come and add a picture or drawing, because colouring in is dead popular with kids at these types of events. So that's what I've got sort of in the pipeline, but to be confirmed, I asked Councillor Pip Allen Davis if she'd contact Dig In and see if they wanted to do something as well. Dig In have got their meeting on the 17th of June, and they're going to discuss it. So I've kind of left it up to them what sort of thing they might like to do. But yeah, obviously we'll hopefully hear from them soon, and then we can do some stuff with those. I've also contacted a lady, I think her name's Marion, is it? Yeah, from the Gardeners and Allotment Holders Association, to see if they would like to do something to take part in this. And the other thing that I'd like to do is again, it was in our corporate plan, is launch the Stapleford Green Business Awards, which I was thinking basically to get some leaflets done to get handed out to businesses. And this would be an aim of launching it at this event for next year, when we're perhaps going to be bigger and better, because obviously the COVID restrictions are probably still limiting what we can do this year. And basically give them a leaflet saying, tell us what you've done that's made your business more sustainable. Like saying, have you changed your packaging? Have you changed the types of products that you're selling? Have you got any special offers on anything that's low energy because we've got a few electrical shops around
Yeah.
here. So there's potential for like to bring the businesses in on this as well, and do an awards thing for local businesses. And then what I haven't got anything for yet, but I'd like to have, is some information on recycling from Borough and home efficiency grants. And I was thinking of contacting Nottingham Energy Partnership because they seem to have a selection of grants. So that's what I've got so far. So I'll hand back to the chair and he can...
Your leaflets, how many are you thinking you should need?
Well, I think when I looked at how many businesses were on the high street, there was around 120.
What about the businesses top end?
Yes, I was wondering if we got about 200 done. Would that be?
I'd rather have too many than not enough. So if we went for 300, that gives us 100 extra.
Yeah. Yeah.
What sort of price range are we talking for 300? Does anybody know?
I think when I used leaflet frog, I mean, because these, I mean, I've got ad A4 leaflets done, but I think they only need to be A5. I reckon you're looking at about 50, 60 quid.
So say 60 quid.
Yeah,
I mean, you've only talking there about 60, 120 plus 40, 180 for an event is pretty small.
I mean, if we're talking about Stapleford, we've got to think of businesses that are not just on the high street as well. You know, there's a few little shops and that
Yeah.
Yeah,
tucked away.
yeah, if we do 300 then we can
The other thing is, Sabrina, is that annex going to be rented out by the time the show comes out?
Probably not. That's something that I'll be wanting to talk to probably the finance committee about.
If it's not, could we use it for doing the kids' drawings and stuff like that?
Oh yes, yeah.
Because that then takes them over to there, somewhere else we can do some stuff.
Yeah.
And if we get some of the shops that do the cycling or do the EVs, cars, etc., I don't know, for example, Ford or Vauxhall or Smithson, Ilkeston or whoever, and we get somebody to come down and talk about it as well. So they've seen the cars there, and they can come down and talk when other things are available. It's just an idea.
Yeah, because I think Rob is the guy who's I think he's the chairman of the Not CP Club, so they're
So
happy to.
at all.
Yeah, they'll know it all. But it's like, because obviously, I mean, we could get them involved if we said, oh, do you want to put test drives on?
Would you like to leave it as is rather than?
I'm kind of thinking that 2 vehicles in the square is probably
Fair enough then, yeah.
But I mean, but it's if we want to move any of these smaller things to the square as well, because obviously there's space in here, and we've still got some unknowns.
So
Just about the kids stuff. If the kids stuff, you need somewhere, because if you've got adults and there's nothing for the kids to do, and adults want to be looking at the stuff, it's about having attractions to occupy the kids
if you
while
keep
the
kids
adults
happy,
are.
the adults happy. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that if we use the annex, if we can use that for doing the kids' drawings and stuff like that.
There'll be nothing on the square while
Yeah,
they're looking at the
or
cars.
a couple of different things. If we've got different locations, I wouldn't keep having, oh, your kids are locked in this thing. I would have it dotted around different activities.
John, you said about keeping something in the square for the kids as well.
Yeah, instead of just keeping everything there, like Sue said. While the adults are looking around the cars and talking, the kids are going to be trying to drive the cars. So if there's something for the kids to do along a similar line, possibly.
We can look at doing something. I mean,
I've got a few ideas.
I thought you might.
Sue,
I'm not saying I'm a child, but
Sue, can I ask you to work with Teresa on this one and keep us up to date on it?
yeah, definitely.
And also John.
But note with glitter, because it's a single-use microplastic.
I don't think I use glitter.
You can use a double bleed.
I would like to propose that we agree the funding we've spent so far for this event.
Well, has anybody got any other things
Yes.
that they want to add, or?
This is your baby, Teresa.
No, it's like, I've got it to that point, it's up to people now to...
I honestly think, I don't know if you know as well, Norman, that this is more your bag. I'm learning most of it, and I'm getting really interested in it, and I'm also learning the joys of building a trike with an electric engine in, which is one of my next projects.
So we'll have that on the square next year as well then.
Give me a chance.
You need,
Has
you
anybody
need
got any
to-
more ideas
Yeah.
for a traction?
You could actually get the bike shop. I think they've got electric bikes down there now.
Yes, that's a good idea.
The on is it Pasture Road?
Yes, I know
Those
the
one
one.
shops, the scooter place.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got electric bikes in.
Cool.
It might be worth giving them a quick bell.
Middle moped, is it?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
I know the chaps.
I mean, it'd be a good thing for them and all to get out and just show us how versatile you are. You ain't just got cars, there's bikes, and an array of things.
There's a lot of things that are coming on. The one thing I'm hearing a lot of complaints about at the moment and confusion is, as you know, those scooters in Nottingham, you can, as long as you rent them, it's fine, but if you own them and use them, it's illegal.
Yeah.
So is it worth trying to have a local bobby here to explain what the rules are? Because we're going to have to be careful on this one.
Or some information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, leaflets or something like that.
Could I ask you, Sabrina, if you can put a line out to our local police constable and ask for some information for them, and if he's free, to actually come down.
Because they are everywhere, aren't they?
Yes. It's a case of
Not had a
like,
go yet.
yeah, no. I've got 3 wheels, not 2.
I would.
I keep seeing them parked up thinking,
Yeah,
we
mine
see
this size
allowed
going
to
on a
be-
scooter, not the
Yeah.
worst side, last seen going that direction screaming. So yes, I'm going to go back to proposing that the financial figures that you've mentioned now we cover. I think it's right that we put the money forward because we are then helping the community go forward, and we are a community council.
So for clarification, because I think it was 60 quid for the bike ride,
40 quid for
Pulp
pubs.
Fiction, probably 50, 60 quid for the leaflets.
Mhm.
Did we want some posters doing for the neighbourhood plan?
Yes,
as
we're
well?
going to need that doing as well.
I'm not sure how much that would cost. I couldn't imagine it'd be more than £40.
So if we maybe put a budget of 250 for this event, is that all right with everybody?
I can have a proposer, please.
I'll propose that.
Seconder. All in favour? Carried.
For an event, that's not a huge sum, is it?
No,
No.
because I mean a lot of it is calling in favours and things, isn't it? So,
We're here for the community, and that's the one thing that we've got to do at all times.
The crafty bits for the kids,
Yeah.
which not really.
Should come on the smoothie machine. They love that.
Get in touch with the schools and get the kids to bring in bits from home too,
Yeah.
and then perhaps have your making place in the annex.
I mean, I've got a few ideas that I've been working on for ages. I've been saving all my bottle tops.
see, we're all eco warriors now.
There's a lot of things that you can do with bottles, etc. From making crow scarers, simple ones, from if you've got an allotment,
Putting wine in them.
I'm no good at making wine, I don't know anybody that is, John, do you?
And flower
Maybe.
cordial. That's what I'm making next.
I think it's just worth mentioning that Richard McRae has got a safety event on the same day, and he has suggested sharing the venue. So if we do end up being too crowded, we could always move. He suggested that we move some stuff down to the Scout Hut.
I suppose at the end of the day, what we could do is, with our advertisement,
Yeah, I think it'd be good to signpost everything, because
Yeah.
obviously make a full day of what's going on in Stapleford.
we can then just advertise everybody doing various things, so that it basically means that everybody's feeding off everybody else,
Yeah.
which is the name of the game.
Yep, absolutely.
Just on that, I mean, I'm really aware that a lot of our events take everybody away from the town centre. which is struggling. They're usually on parks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I am keen to try and keep stuff
Yeah.
along the high street, because then people might pop into a shop, might pop in for a coffee.
Even though
things
it's
like
not
that.
on the agenda, for the next meeting, I would like to put across an idea of doing events for the winter and autumn and summer on the high street, maybe in some of the shops, etc. We talked about at one stage doing a small little, quartets in little cafes, etc. And something like that which can run at the same time as this in the future would be brilliant. Yes.
Sorry, it's just come to me.
Hmm.
I don't know if anybody's ever seen kids making instruments out of vegetables.
Oh, where they carve like
Yeah,
carrots.
but I don't know whether digging. Did they do that?
I've got no idea.
I wonder
That
if they
sounds
do that.
fascinating.
I wonder if they do that. That could be really fun.
Well, yes, I want, for the next meeting, I'm going to put that on the agenda, so it's just giving you
Yeah.
some
You mean-
heads up.
Like Kimberley Jam, or because that is a really big event to organise. something
With
like
our
that.
help of Norman, he's done something similar as well. We can pull this together, and if we basically work, we get this out of the way first. That's what this meeting's about. I've only just mentioned it because we can do it at the same time for the next meeting, but it's something we need to push forward to get little events going. Little events are key to a parish this size. To keep it going, to get people feel as though the council's doing something for them. And I think it'd be quite good, even if it's just somebody telling stories in the library, or somebody doing folk stories. There's a person I know called Frank, and what he doesn't know about folk stories, an old Morris dancer, you can write on a postage stamp, and he knows all the history of Stapleford and the folklore that surrounded Stapleford. He's coming to a shop in July 3rd, and I'm going to ask him if I can have a chat with him afterwards to basically do something similar, because something like that, you have him here, and you have the seats set out, and you listen to him talk, because there's something special about having a storyteller narrating the stories about the legends that we've forgotten about around town, that the older generation might know, but I don't know, and especially the younger generation won't know. And I think that'll be fascinating, and it's something we can look forward to. But again, that's for the next one, and again, we can roll it in with something for next year for this. Right, before I get delved into completely the wrong direction, I would like to thank you all on that, and Sabrina and Teresa, thank you very much for all the hard work on that. Right, date of the next meeting. We're looking at Monday, the 5th of July 2021. Well, how's the time gone?
So how many weeks away is that?
4.
So hopefully by that point we'll have all of this.
Right, I would just wonder
Can
if
I
we
make
need
a suggestion that we do an informal meeting online nearer the time, if that's possible, that we can get things sorted out, and if need be, then bring it to that meeting for the finalisation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'll be talking to each other
Yeah.
to get all the bits and bobs done. Yeah.
We can do that, do something if need be through Teams, and we can do it as an informal meeting, and then we've got everything we need to bring it up to
I'm just
spec, etc.
thinking like the 5th, obviously, and then 31st, it's not long to make sure we've got
Yeah,
all the stuff, yeah.
We should be able to find out what digging's doing by the 5th, though, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm away from the 7th for a week. Sorry, from the 9th from the week. Guess where I'm going? I'm white again. Don't know why. But we're going down there for a week, so after that I'll be back again. But if there's any meetings or anybody who needs me for that, I'm on the phone so I can jump on. That's no problem, where it's got plenty of signal.
Yeah.
So we can do a meeting on Teams through that way.
Yeah, if needs be, if there's anything
Yeah.
that we need to discuss, then do you reckon?
Just before I bring this meeting to an end, is there any other business connected with the meeting tonight?
No.
I would like to thank you all for coming. Have a good evening, have a good weekend, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.